Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, I will show you how easily you can change the look of the cell and value fields of the pivot table control using a built-in cell template and conditional formatting properties. Look at this example, where you can see the pivot table cells are customized with profit, neutral, and loss icons based on the measure data. A green and pink background color was applied to the pivot table cells by setting the conditions for measure values. Now, I will show how to achieve this customization at the code level. First, I will open an existing Blazor Pivot Table application, where I have already configured the pivot table with basic properties and bound electric power revenue data to it. In case you want to know how to add a pivot table to a Blazor application, I have linked the Getting Started video in the above YouTube card. You can also find its reference link in the description below. Here, I have set the energy type and energy source fields as columns, using the Pivot View Columns tag. I have added the fields, year and half year as pivot table rows. Also, defined two fields, power units and revenue, as pivot view values, and formatted the revenue to be in currency format. Now, let me run this application to show you the output of this example. So here, you can view the pivot table with defined columns, rows, and value fields. Next, I want to display pivot table cells with different icons, so I will show you how to customize the cells using the cell template property. As a first step, I add the cell template tag within this pivot view template tag. Then, I define the variable as cell data and converted context as the axis set built-in class, which allows us to configure the pivot table cell information retrieved from data source. As I said before, I am going to set 3 different icons for the cells based on the values. For that, first I make sure the cell data is not null using the if condition statement. Also, I need to check that the cell data.axis is equal to values. Then, I add this code to display the formatted text in the pivot table cells. Next, I want to set the profit icon for cells when their value is greater than 175. So, I add an if condition to check whether the cell data value is greater than 175. Then, I will define a span element and add the profit icon class. Similarly, using else if condition statements, I have added 2 more conditions for when the cell data value is greater than 100 and is greater than 0, to set neutral and loss icons for the cells respectively. If the cell data axis is not equal to values, I will just add the formatted text in the else section. Along with this, I have defined a few CSS styles for these icon and alignment classes within this style section. When you look at the pivot table now, you can spot the cells with different icons. Next, I will show you how to change the appearance of the pivot table cells using conditional formatting. Now, I am going to apply conditional formatting during runtime by invoking the toolbar in the pivot table. So, let me define the show toolbar property and set its value as true. Then, I define the list array, toolbar item list, and add item conditional formatting to it. Now, I assign this list variable to the toolbar property. To apply conditional formatting, I define the allow conditional formatting property and set its value as true. Look at this pivot table, it contains the conditional formatting toolbar option at the top left corner. When I click this option, the conditional formatting dialog opens. Here, I can set n number of conditions to format the cell. Now, I will add a condition by clicking the Add button, which allows me to customize the cells based on the measure values, operators, and values. I will set the measure value as revenue, the condition as less than, and the value as 100. I format the cell text color to be red, and the background color to be yellow, and then click Apply. The revenue values less than 100 are now formatted with a red font color and yellow background. Suppose I would like to apply conditional formatting programmatically. Then, I add the pivot view conditional format settings tag, which accepts n number of pivot view conditional format setting definitions within it. I am going to set conditional formatting to measure revenue, so let me add the measure property and set the value to revenue. Then, I will define the condition property with the value less than. And I will add the value 1 property of 100. As I said before, I am going to customize the font and background for the cell, so let me define the pivot view style tag and add the properties, background, color, font family, and font size with appropriate values. And now, you can see in the pivot table, the revenue values less than 100 are formatted with a red font color and yellow background. If I want to apply this conditional formatting to all the value fields, then I need to remove the measure property from the pivot view conditional format setting tag, so that this conditional formatting will be applied to both the measure fields. As you can see, if the power units and revenue values are less than 100, then the appropriate colors are applied. Finally, let me summarize some of the important points we have discussed in this video. We have seen how to customize the appearance of Blazor pivot table cells using a cell template, and apply conditional formatting to a specific value field programmatically, as well as to all the value fields. If you would like to see this working example, you can download it from the GitHub link shared in the description below. You can also grab your chance at getting a free license key to use our complete Blazor products if you fit into our community guidelines. So check the link in the description to see if you are eligible for our community license. If you found this video useful, please click the like button and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos like this. Thank you for watching.